people to greatness. I have experienced it. The first day, I remember very well that it was just a rough work on business plan writing. I've been doing business for years. I've never thought of business plan. I only come to tell you about my business, and that's all. But I never know there's a formal way of putting all about your business in a very presentable and comprehensible manner until I had the first capacity workshop with C4C. I got to understand what business plan writing is. And today, nobody goes through my business plan writings, go through my business plans and just go away. Not at all. C4C had bring in facilitators, great minds in business, and has impacted us with good skills, good format, good way of really putting our business before everyone. Business plan writing wiped ups, and the other one that really catched me the most and really helped me so well in my business is the mental health. The mental health, because at some point I was really suffering with family problems and business, family issues and business, and that has really affected the integrity of my business. Not until God brought me to C4C, and I was like, what's mental health doing in business? Because I was hearing that for the first time until we had that beautiful conversation and lecture with the facilitator. I must say God will bless you, Mommy, for bringing a platform. We'll also bless the facilitator, sure. He began to tell us how our mental being should be when it comes to business. And Mommy, I tell you, prior to the time I think I was struggling with my sick father.
Oh yes.
Yes.
I remember.
We were struggling with my sick father. And that moment really affected the business. But after that class, my business changed shape. After that class, because I know the time for business. I know when to prepare myself for business. I know how to set myself going for business. I know when to set myself going when I get to family issues. Then I allow it interfere into my business. I was mentally unstable. It affects my designs, it affects my productions, it affects my deliveries, it affects almost every aspect. In fact, the financial records of the business was affected because I was mentally unstable. I've related what my business is solving. I've let my customer understand what I'm really doing. I've made my customer understand why are not patient enough for you to put in your wheelchair in the boot, and sometimes I spend hours standing by the roadside just to go to the market. And after buying my materials, there's an added.
You now have
yes,
a load.
I now have added load, the wheelchair and the materials. I will stay hours without finding. Sometimes I have to top up the transport fare for them to carry. And I pay for my wheelchair each time I bought the public transport. I have to pay for my wheelchair. I have to pay for myself. When I got it, I can go to the market 8,000 times a day. The Autoride motorcycle gives me great access, gives me this relief, gives me this hope to do production anytime I want to do it. Because I just kick on it, I move, I'm in the market. The luggage I bought, I tied up to it, and I move straight down to the spot where I do my business. It does not give me this difficulty in movement because I'm on top of it, entering the market right before the store, and everything is being binded and given to me. All I need to do is kick it and move. It makes movement so easy. It makes movement so easy. Imagine I'm taking a public transport from where I come from to this very interview today. It would have been a lot of stress. But from the point, my house, I was on it, I drove down to the gate. I entered, and I'm here. And that's how I go. Less stress.
You were able to come all the way
yes.
to this place.
Yes. Less stress, less expenses. I spent less this time around. So I must thank C4C have done so much grace. Clause 12, I can never forget you. Like, God will continue to increase you.
Amen.
God will continue to build more capacity in you because you have transformed a life. And the transformation, it's a lifetime transformation. That's what C4C and Club 12 have done. The motorized, it's still there, strong, and God is really helping me with all that I've gained from C4C. The maintenance has been made easy because I do business and I do it well. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure. Like I said, blessings flow both ways. That is what I have learned in my short life. I call my life short. When you're over 70, you can still say short. When you bless others, you are blessed in that blessing.
Yes.
And we have found, we consider it a great opportunity, a blessing to have been able to reach you and to help you.
Thank you.
And I join you in thanking the ladies from Club 12 who rallied together, taxed themselves, and made up enough to buy you the motorized vehicle. It's so good to know.
Thank you.
That it's been very helpful and continues to be helpful.
Yes.
And so we say that to many of our viewers who are watching and potential partners out there. Please do join in any way you can. Come to our programs. Every time we run a workshop, for instance, we do open it up to people who can come and mix with these fellows, see what we teach, and interact with them. And please do join us, partnering as Club 12 did this time, but has always done, in actually supporting them, because an essential part of the program is to provide them equipment. And so now we've landed on the issue of equipment. Tell us, did you receive equipment support?
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about it.
That was the big turnaround even for the business.
Okay.
Remember when you told me to share the challenges? I was trying to speak about filing machine and manual sewing machines.
Okay,
that has been struggles for years. Not until C4C did the wonder. I call it real wonder that transformed the business. C4C got me a filing machine, an industrial filing machine that's been working till today. Very easy, very smooth, very accessible. I can use it, very accessible. Not like the local water pumps and all of that, no. very accessible. The mind-blowing one that really keeps me smiling each time I work is the industrial sewing machine.
Okay.
Yes, because less efforts from my legs that can produce, it works faster than even the manual that I need more pressure. I just need to, C4C got me an industrial sewing machine that since that day, stress from my hands was over. Strength from my legs for pedaling the manual sewing machine, it's over. I enjoyed sewing, and manual sewing machine does not even sew hard materials.
Okay.
But this one C4C gave
has
to
more
me.
power.
It has more power. I sew everything I need to. I don't need to go. Then, if I had such work, I will have to pay for someone who has that industrial to render the service, and I pay. But this time around, that has stopped. I enjoyed everything, and my profit I put together well. So C4C have done a lot. Not just that, they got me material gums. And
Okay.
it's, yes, they got me materials for shoes also. And also gum. That really increased the volume of my production. It's gone high. Until today, I am enjoying that's blessings. I'm enjoying those equipment till today, till now I'm enjoying. And the cost of sharing the pictures of my production and trainings, you will see them. They're still looking good till today. They're still looking good because I see C4C gives you what you appreciate.
Again, see you next episode.
break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, AIT_live, and AIT Livestream 1 on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
James Akbarshe arrives for a checkup at the Community Medical Center in Dadere, but it's not for his health. The student journalist is there to see how well the government-run center in Nigeria's central Nasarawa state is working. It's part of an initiative called Udeme, an Ibibio word for My Share. It sends student journalists, known as U-monitors, to investigate public projects and hold authorities accountable.
Sometimes you travel to those communities where those projects have been awarded. You discover that those residents don't want to talk to you because they have no idea of those projects. So you face challenges, maybe sometimes threats to your life. When a lawmaker find out or individual find out you are doing a story that will implicate him.
The Media Non-Profit Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, or CJID, launched Udeme in 2018. It recruits about 100 students like Akbarshe each year. They track public infrastructure projects like the construction of schools and hospitals. And they talk to residents about what they find.
So our youth monitors are fluent in the local dialect in those places. So when they go on radio shows, they speak in those local dialects so that people can understand the relevance of the topic that we're talking about. And we see them calling in after the program.
Nigeria ranks 145th out of 180 countries on the Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index. The CJID says ignorance is often why public officials are not held accountable. At a visit to Nigeria's Independent Corrupt Practices Commission in February, authorities pledged their support.
The issue of corruption and corrupt practices is a problem. We will always continue to work with you.
CJID says its approach brings change and could be model other media should follow.
The stories now break online.
Hello there. Thanks for joining us on AIT Report. I am Enemaku Ojochegbe. Welcome. Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in Cotonou, Republic of Benin, on a high-level working visit to explore new partnerships for Nigeria's textile sector. He was received on arrival by Benin's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Corinne Amori Brunet, and Minister of Tourism and External Trade, Mr. Olusegun Ajadi Bakari.
The President is accompanied by the governors of Kwara, Imo, Jigawa, Plateau, Katsina, and Zamfara State, as well as the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari. The delegation will on Friday visit the Glojigbe Industrial Zone, GDIZ, near Cotonou, to engage Beninese government officials, investors, and private operators. The visit focuses on strengthening Nigeria's special agro-industrial processing zones. Particular attention will be given to the GDIZ Textile Park, an integrated hub covering cotton spinning, weaving, fabric processing, and garment manufacturing across 1,640 hectares. Officials say Nigeria hopes to draw lessons on value addition, industrial infrastructure, and export-oriented production. The trip comes as the federal government pushes to revive the textile industry, valued at 8.15 trillion naira in 2024, with 2.45 trillion generated in the first quarter of 2025. The delegation will examine linkages between farmers, ginneries, mills, and export market, as well as opportunities for technology training and public-private partnership in line with President Tinubu's Renew Hope agenda on industrial revival and job creation. Mustafa Muhammad, AIT News, Abuja.
The memory of former governor of Lagos State, Lateef Jakande, was immortalized when media executives under the aegis of Nigeria Guild of Editors, NGE, converged on Lagos on Thursday for the 4th Lateef Jakande annual lecture. Speaking on the theme, the media, INEC, voters, and path to credible elections, the guest lecturer, Professor Odion Akaine, charged all stakeholders to hold on to the truth and to do the right thing.
From the streets to roundtable talks to further discuss on how to fine-tune sections 62 to 65 of the Lecture Act 2026. But at the Yaga Africa's Policy Roundtable on electronic collation and transmission of election results, the panelists expressed fears that if INEC fails to transmit results of Osun governorship and 2027 elections to the result viewing portal, IREF simultaneously, the electoral system will continue to lose.
The Coalition of Election Observers have called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to fully transmit results of the Osun State governorship and 2027 general election electronically. The election observers who were on a panel at Yaga Africa's Policy Roundtable on election results, electronic transmission, and collation in Abuja agreed that both the collation and transmission should be conducted electronically to strengthen the integrity of the exercise.
From the streets to roundtable talks to further discuss on how to fine-tune sections 62 to 65 of the Lecture Act 2026. But at the Yaga Africa's Policy Roundtable on electronic collation and transmission of election results, the panelists expressed fears that if INEC fails to transmit results of Osun governorship and 2027 elections to the result viewing portal, IREF simultaneously, the electoral system will continue to lose its credibility.
At the word collation level, there are corrections that are made. There are cancellations that are made. So at the end of the day, the public can see the journey and understand where these corrections have been made and the justification.
So the IPAC position for INEC is to conduct rerun elections if electronic transmission of results from the polling unit fail due to communication to network failures. This will rebuild public trust and confidence in the electoral process.
So the guidelines now specifically say this thing must be done electronically, and all our discussions here seem centered on transmission to IREF. We have not yet heard much about transmission to the collation system, which is what 62 recognizes as a mode of collating results.
Now, it is crystal clear that all panelists here in this hall, in one voice, have agreed that measures recommended required no legislative amendment and, of course, fall squarely within INEC's existing constitutional and statutory powers that can be implemented in advance of 2026 Osun State governorship election and, of course, the general elections. Funke Ogunlulu, AIT News, Abuja.
We told you earlier that the memory of former governor of Lagos State, Lateef Jakande, was immortalized when media executives under the aegis of Nigeria's Guild of Editors converged on Lagos on Thursday for the 4th Lateef Jakande annual lecture. Speaking on the theme, the media, INEC, voters, and path to credible elections, the guest lecturer, Professor Odion Akaine, charged all stakeholders to hold on to the truth and to do the right thing.
For that discussion, the president of Nigerian Guild of Editors, Eze Anaba, said the theme for this year's annual lecture, the media, INEC, voter, and path to credible elections, is apt, coming ahead of the runoff election in Osun State on October 15, 2026, as well as the general elections in 2027.
Since its inception, the Guild has consistently sought to shape national discourse and serve as a moral compass, guiding citizens on issues of public importance and the way forward. Our country stands on the cusp of another national election, one that has been described in many ways. Some have called it defining election that will test the resilience and future of our democracy. It is for this reason that we chose the theme of this year's lecture: the media, INEC, voters, and the path to credible elections.
In a keynote address, the guest lecturer, Professor Sylvester Odion Akaine, said the political setting now in the country is full of illiberal practices leading to consequential de-empowerment of the citizens. He stressed that all stakeholders have a role to play and that the media must stand by the truth.
Both the media and INEC can accelerate the activities in this regard. If the critical stakeholders play their role, it is my conviction that Nigerian democratic trade will be steered on the right course.
For others present, there is a need for all stakeholders to emulate the sterling qualities of late Lateef Jakande to position the country for good as the nation faces millions of challenges.
So they need to learn that we will leave something one day, and what will leave the legacy that we're talking about him now. All the money, all the things they carry around, governor of the bank, they can't take it away.
So in terms of simplicity, instead of resilience and being a stickler for facts, that is one thing about Jakande.
Deji Jakande, son of late Lateef Jakande, who accompanied his mother to the event, thanked the Guild of Editors as well as other Nigerians for the honor given to their late father, who served as the first executive governor of Lagos State from 1979 to December 1983. Obiunume, AIT News, Lagos.
You're still watching AIT Reports on AIT. At this point, we're going to now join. Beg your pardon, we'll continue with the AIT Reports now. A nationwide survey of public perception of the government's performance across the 8 priority areas of the Renewed Hope agenda, as well as awareness and use of the Citizens Delivery Tracker, has revealed a significant gap between the federal government and the daily experiences of many Nigerians. The study, which has been received by the federal government, surveyed 1,978 respondents across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory.
The findings show that 74% of respondents rated the government's performance on economic reforms negatively, while the same percentage expressed dissatisfaction with governance and service delivery. Another 71% gave poor ratings to education, health, and social investment, while 58% rated national security negatively. The findings highlight a disconnect between government reforms and citizens' lived realities.
On our own part, we just want to say that whatever government does in terms of reforms, it needs to put the citizens' experience and impact at the heart of whatever they are doing.
Receiving the report titled What Citizens Said versus What Government Promised, the Director General of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms commits to the Bureau's support in bridging gaps between citizens' negative perception of government, as well as develop sustainable platforms for stronger collaboration.
Their project being presented today, What Citizens Said and What Government Promises, is commendable, timely, and core to the delivery of service to citizens, in line with the priority objectives and the Renew Hope agenda of His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The report recommends improving public awareness of the Citizen Delivery Tracker, strengthening government response to citizen feedback, and ensuring that economic reforms translate into visible improvements in the lives of ordinary Nigerians. Kedonojo Okoliko, AIT News, Abuja.
The federal government of Nigeria has unveiled the online registration portal for the third phase of the Renewed Hope Employment Initiative. At the unveiling in Abuja, Minister of Labour and Employment Muhammad Dinkyadi said President Tinubu is passionate about the high rate of youth and women unemployment and is poised to reduce the number.
The Renewed Hope agenda of this administration recognizes that sustainable development can only be achieved when citizens have the access to productive employment, entrepreneurship opportunities, and skills required to participate meaningfully in a rapidly changing economy.
General of the National Directorate of Employment, Silas Agara, said the success of the first and second phases was satisfactory to the president, and he graciously approved the third phase. Agara complimented by the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, who confirmed that the initiative targeting the age bracket targeted is 18 to 50 years old Nigerians as laudable.
The registration portal for phase 3 has been successfully digitalized and upgraded with enhanced features to provide beneficiaries with seamless registration and training experience. Among the key features are the authentication of each applicant's identity using the national identification number.
Okay, so if you push it to 50, then you could see that just barely 14% is left. So NDE is trying to reach out to about 86% of Nigeria. That's a huge task.
The initiative targets over 50,000 beneficiaries in the third phase who will be trained in ICT, agriculture, entrepreneurship development, special public works, technical and vocational skills. A monthly stipend of between 25,000 naira to 50,000 naira has also been approved for a period of 6 months. The Nigerian Senate has warned ministries, departments and agencies and government-owned enterprises that persistent failure to honor invitations from the National Assembly will attract constitutional sanctions. The resolution follows the adoption of a motion sponsored by Senator Sani Musa under Order 41 and 51, raising concerns over the repeated refusal of several government agencies to appear before Senate committees despite invitations. In its resolutions, the Senate reaffirmed its constitutional powers under Sections 88 and 89 of the 1999 Constitution to investigate the finances and administration of all MDAs and other public institutions established by law. Lawmakers directed all government agencies to honor invitations issued by the Senate and its committees, appear whenever required, and provide all documents and information necessary for the effective discharge of legislative oversight functions. The upper chamber further resolved that any MDA or government agency that deliberately refuses to honor Senate invitations or obstructs the National Assembly's oversight responsibilities will be subjected to sanctions and enforcement measures as approved under the Constitution, the Legislative Houses and Privileges Act, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and the standing orders of the Senate. The Senate also called on the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the head of the Civil Service, and all supervising ministries to ensure strict compliance by agencies under their supervision with invitations, summons, and directives issued by the Senate and its committees. Lawmakers mandated the Clerk of the National Assembly to communicate the resolution to all MDAs and the head of the Civil Service and other relevant authorities for immediate compliance. Governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, has signed landmark executive orders on education reforms. The executive orders are designed to strengthen the education sector by providing a legal framework for sustainable education financing, school safety and protection, quality assurance, health services, and security.
Tuesday, 22nd July 2026, mark a significant milestone in the history of education in Zamfara State as Governor Dauda Lawal signed a series of executive orders aimed at transforming the sector. The executive orders were signed at the Government House in Gusau in the presence of education stakeholders, government officials, and development partners.
This is exactly the direction His Excellency Dauda Lawal has chosen for Zamfara State. The executive orders being presented today establish an integrated governance framework covering education financing, school protection, school classification, quality assurance, school health, security, leadership, technology, and accountability. They are designed to ensure that every public school operates under clear standards.
Governor Lawan described education as a powerful tool for reducing poverty, preparing future generations to compete in an increasing knowledge-driven world.
If we don't reform the education level, that is why we continue to be backward. Stop writing everything that you think currently is business as usual. It's no longer business as usual. The system will be perfect.
The governor also criticized the attitude of some education stakeholders, stressing that the reform must go beyond policy documents to deliver schools, strong governance, healthier learners, and renewed public confidence in Zamfara's education system. Damina Yusuf, AIT News, Gusau.
Kaduna State government has reaffirmed its commitment to delivering quality infrastructure across the state, with the Commissioner for Environment leading an inspection of the ongoing 17-kilometer Tasha-Kayada Road project in Lere local government area. The government says the project is part of efforts to improve rural connectivity and accelerate socio-economic development.
The 17-kilometer Tasha-Kayada Road is expected to open up farming communities in Lere local government area, is the movement of people and agricultural produce, reduce travel times, and improve access to markets, schools, and healthcare facilities. To assess the pace and quality of work, the Commissioner for Environment, Abubakar Buba, led political office holders, traditional leaders, and other stakeholders on an inspection of the project.
This work has gone so far, now almost at more than 85% completion. That is why we now feel it's better for us to come and see the work and see the quality of the work that the contractors are doing. Because this is the first time that this road, measuring 17 kilometers, asphaltic, is being constructed here in Kayarda and here in Lere local government.
Chairman of Lere local government area, Jafar Ahmed, says the project has already transformed movement within the area, reducing what used to be a journey of several hours to just a few minutes.
This road is giving us headache before. From Tasha-Kayada, before you reach where we are today, it's just like 2 kilometers. But before you will spend more than 2 hours before you get to this place.
The contractor, Marshall McGill, says despite weather-related challenges, work is progressing steadily.
We'll do our best. Maybe, hopefully by end of September, early October, we should be finished.
The Kaduna State government says it will continue to monitor ongoing infrastructure projects to ensure timely delivery, quality execution, and improve living conditions for residents across the state. Abimaja Moses, AIT News, Kaduna.
Agricultural experts have been urged to adopt innovative approaches that will attract more youths into agriculture as part of efforts to reduce poverty, tackle unemployment, and strengthen food security across the country and beyond. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo gave this charge while receiving a delegation of agricultural experts at the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library in Abeokuta, Ogun State. He advocated integrating entertainment, culture, and other youth-driven initiatives into agriculture to make the sector more appealing and economically rewarding for young Africans.
Nigeria's farming population growing older, experts have continued to express concern about the future of food production. Available statistics indicate that the average age of a Nigerian farmer is between 55 and 60 years, raising fears of a looming food security challenge if younger generations do not embrace agriculture. Agricultural stakeholders are exploring innovative strategies, including leveraging entertainment, culture, and the creative industry to stimulate young people's interest in agribusiness.
Now to tell him to go to tilling of the land. No, from the fund we are generating quality products. We provide all the necessary amenities. From the crops, from the tilling of the machineries,
the drones to monitor a lot of things. We commissioned them in a structural, what China did when they were in hunger. That is what we have tried. China, now we are trying to bring in this youth to know the value of what we have, and also for them to be able to appreciate what God had done for us in this country.
The former President Olusegun Obasanjo also stressed the need for African countries to modernize agricultural troop mechanization, improve technology, and value chain development, saying this remains critical to boosting productivity, ensuring food sufficiency, and creating sustainable employment for millions of young people across the continent.
It's about agribusiness from preparation of equipment for land clearing up through the value chain up to the food on the table. They are all yes. And preparing for what you call exhibition and cultural show and entertainment.
Niyi Marayesa, AIT News, Abeokuta.
Nigeria's Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has issued a stern directive to officers across the country to not wait for orders, act decisively against criminal elements bearing illegal firearms under Force Order 327. Speaking at a high-stakes security town hall in Makurdi, the Benue State police chief pledged a sweeping new push to end years of deadly attacks across the state. But local leaders and state officials say real peace will require more than rhetoric.
A high-powered arrival at the government house, Makurdi, marking a pivotal moment for a state long on the front lines of insecurity. It's a crucial gathering bringing together top police brass, community leaders, and government stakeholders.
We are not sleeping with our two eyes closed.
Addressing the audience, the Inspector General of Police made it clear that the era of passive policing is over.
We have given them necessary instructions. We have a Force Order 237. Police officers have been told they don't need to wait for any superior order. They know when to deploy their firearms. We are tired of losing our men.
For the State Governor Hyacinth Alia, local intelligence and rapid response are paramount.
Your operational lieutenant, spoke about, and more so, sent an invite to us to collaborate with a 14-day sweep and total coup in the state. Sir, yes, come, we are ready.
Community stakeholders did not mince words. Traditional religious leaders pushed back hard against narratives framing the crisis as mere reprisal clashes.
Top on the list are criminal herders and bandits who often come into Benue to attack and kill us.
The police chief pledged to make regular visits to the state until stability is restored. But for the people of Benue, the real test lies in how quickly these promises translate into safety on ground. Dofan Aga, AIT News, Makurdi.
Illegal miners operating at a site in the Korokpa village in Baikoro local government area of Niger State have killed an operative of the mining marshal of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. The deceased officer, Assistant Superintendent of Corps 2, Aminu Eshi, was said to have been fatally shot in the head during the attack. Confirming the development, spokesman of the Corps, Deputy Superintendent of Corps, Abubakar Muti, said the incident occurred on Wednesday, July 22, when operatives of the NSCDC mining marshals were on a routine operational patrol at an illegal mining site located in the village and came under attack by suspected illegal miners and their collaborators. Upon sighting the personnel, the suspects launched a coordinated and unprovoked attack on the patrol team in an apparent attempt to resist lawful enforcement operations. The operatives promptly requested reinforcement to contain the situation and restore order, during which the deceased officer was shot in the head. Muti added that the injured officer was immediately evacuated from the scene and rushed to a nearby medical facility for urgent treatment but died in the process of receiving treatment. While condemning the attack and commiserating with the deceased officer's family, Commandant Suberu Nive, the command remains resolute in its constitutional mandate to protect the nation's critical national assets and infrastructure, including the solid minerals sector, and will not be deterred by criminal elements. The Nigerian Senate has called on the Nigeria Police Force and the judiciary to ensure that those responsible for the recent attacks in Takas district of Pankshin local government area of Plateau State are arrested, prosecuted and made to face the full weight of the law. The upper chamber also urged the Inspector General of Police to strengthen security operations in the affected communities by establishing additional police stations and deploying more personnel to complement existing security formations. The resolution follows the adoption of a motion titled Urgent Need to Upscale Security Operations in Takas district of Pankshin local government area of Plateau State, sponsored by Senator Dickett Plang. Representing the motion, Senator Plang lamented the recurring farmers' herders' killings across Plateau State, saying the violence has claimed several lives and destroyed property in different local government areas. He drew attention to the latest incident in Takas district where two farmers, Samson Renkat and Adam, were allegedly killed on their farmlands after attempting to prevent cattle from destroying their crops. The lawmaker described the attacks as coordinated and brutal, alleging that the assailants used similar methods in carrying out the killings. He expressed concern that the persistent violence, coupled with inadequate security and porous borders, has continued to endanger lives and livelihoods in the area. According to him, the growing insecurity has left residents living in fear and unable to engage in farming and other economic activities, posing a threat to food security. Senator Plang, however, commended the Plateau State Police Command for arresting a suspect and recovering some cattle linked to the perpetrators. He also praised the chairman of the local government area, the divisional police officer, the paramount ruler of the area, and community leaders for their efforts in preventing further escalation of the crisis. The minority caucus in Nigeria's House of Representatives staged a walkout from plenary at Thursday's sitting, protesting the passage of the constitutional amendment bill seeking to establish state police. The caucus accused the House leadership of violating constitutional provisions and the chamber's standing orders. Addressing journalists shortly after leaving the chamber, the minority leader, Frederick Agbedi, alongside other caucus leaders, insisted that their action was not in opposition to state police, but against what they described as the abuse of parliamentary procedures.
Consideration of the State Police Amendment Bill sent last week by President Bola Tinubu commenced with opposition lawmakers kicking against some provisions contained in the legislation.
The bill is not merely about creating another policing institution. It is about bringing policing closer to the people, strengthening intelligence gathering, enhancing community policing, improving coordination, Mr. Speaker, amongst security agencies and empowering government.
Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Oh, sorry. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
By the Deputy Speaker. These shouts by the minority for an opportunity to contribute to the bill were ignored by the presiding officer, a development that led to this walkout. Addressing journalists shortly after leaving plenary, House Minority Leader Fred Agbedi explained that they were not against state police creation, but what they described as abuse of parliamentary procedures.
And so for us, yes, this is not about majority, this is not about minority, but it is about protecting the laws of this nation. Anywhere there is no rule of law, then that society is deemed to be in crisis.
Agbedi faulted the mode of attendance used for the voting process, while insisting that constitutional amendment bills must be considered clause by clause, with each provision supported by a 2/3 majority of members.
Mr. Speaker, as chairman of the Committee of the Whole, and just read the long title of it and then put a voice question for determination of an alteration that requires 2/3 and clause by clause consideration and voting is absurd.
Meanwhile, House Speaker Tajuddin Abbas announced at the end of voting that 311 members voted in support of the executive bill's passage. President Bola Tinubu had in his letter transmitting the bill explained that the proposal builds on the work already done by the House and incorporates additional safeguards to ensure that the creation of state police addresses Nigeria's national security challenges. Ogianawe Udrimo, AIT News, Abuja.
President Tinubu has called for stronger collaboration between the federal government and state governors to tackle terrorism and banditry, particularly in Nigeria's northeast. The president made the call on Thursday while receiving a delegation of political, traditional, and community leaders from the region at the presidential villa, Abuja. The delegation was at the State House to thank him for retaining Vice President Kashim Shettima as his running mate for the 2027 presidential election.
President Bola Tinubu welcomes a high-power delegation of Northeast leaders led by Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum at the council chamber of the presidential villa. The delegation, comprising governors, traditional rulers, former National Assembly leaders, and other stakeholders, visited the State House to appreciate the president for retaining Vice President Kashim Shettima as his running mate for the 2027 presidential election. But beyond the show of support, President Tinubu used the opportunity to address issues affecting the region, especially insecurity.
I could see the leadership of Northeast challenged because of terrorism and banditry. I could see our collaboration, that we work together. Only we stick together, we think together, we face the challenges the best way possible as a united country.
On the economy, President Tinubu said his administration's reforms are beginning to stabilize the economy, urging governors to support efforts that will translate the gains into improved welfare for Nigerians.
If I can go political, somebody among my prospective opponents, they privatized government investment in public private entities, or they forget to pay the pension. I'm clearing the pensioners now.
Speaking on behalf of the delegation, Governor Babagana Zulum thanked the president for retaining Vice President Kashim Shettima, describing the decision as a reflection of confidence in the Northeast.
We will continue to support the policies and programs of your government. We will continue to mobilize our people to key in to the renewed hope agenda at the grassroots. We are fired up that come 2027, inshallah, the Northeast will massively deliver your ticket and all other APC candidates at all levels.
And Mr. President, we are with you. We are with your administration. And by the grace of God, you will continue where we stopped. You will continue where we stopped in 1993 and bring hope to our great fatherland.
While the administration continues to push its economic reforms, President Tinubu says the success of the country's development journey depends on a collective effort to secure the nation and improve the well-being of Nigerians. Yemi Adebayo, AIT News, Abuja.
On May 29, 2023, when President Tinubu assumed office as president of Nigeria, his first major policy was the termination of petroleum product subsidy. In this special report, AIT's Hazza Kodi examines how the removal of fuel subsidy has expanded financial opportunities for subnational governments, enabling many states to pursue their development agendas, fulfill campaign promises, and deliver on the mandates entrusted to them by the electorate.
Governance is about meeting the needs of the people and restoring their hopes in the ability of government policies to improve their lives. Achieving this requires effective collaboration among all tiers of government to deliver meaningful development across the country.
So when people were trying to oppose the removal of subsidy, I have to put my belt on my jeans. I came out and said subsidy must be removed. So whatever this man has done to make us have access to funds to help the people. I'm glad that we were able to deploy these resources to visible programs and projects that our people today are very, very happy for it.
Leaders must be ready for the challenges of the 21st century, but also must provide the necessary infrastructure, must support our young people who are innovative, who are tech-savvy, and who rely heavily on the infrastructure government can provide.
When you provide such facilities, you also must create room for people to be able to access it and to be able to afford it. And accessing it means taking it to the grassroots. The governor is already doing that.
In Kogi State, visited by the Renew Hope Ambassadors Media Tour team, the benefits of the fuel subsidy removal policy were evident across key sectors.
Going around nooks and crannies of the state, you see that the governor actually is impacting on the people. One emphasis is this: no matter where you are, development will not be far away from you. You can see this is an interior part of the Kina local government, part of Kogi State, but here we are. The servant leader has brought development to the people.
This first phase of this road intervention is across 8 local governments, and we have seen the quality of work. We have seen the secondary school here, the model secondary school, and we saw the erosion control as well, somewhere in Mopamoro. For me, this speaks to the person, the character, the governance philosophy of Governor Ododo.
Residents across states, particularly in the rural communities, have commended the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and their governors for investing in rural infrastructure and community development projects, describing them as key drivers of improved livelihood and economic growth.
People that are even passing through this road, some of them are not from this place, and they suffer a lot anytime they decide to pass this road. So we really thank the government that remember us and decided to help us with the road, and we hope many more will come after this road.
If you see this road before now, you go round. Motor no gree enter this place. People when they call here, they go round say this place now road very bad. It's be like it's a bush, but now it done better.
The experiences across the states visited suggest that policy decisions, which may initially appear difficult, can over time unlock significant opportunities for growth and development. Haz Akodi, AIT News, Abuja.
The Minister of Power, Joseph Tegbe, says the future of Nigeria no longer relies on large central power plants because of their long implementation period. The minister made this public while speaking in Lagos during the event organized by the Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers.
According to the Minister of Power, Joseph Tegbe, represented here at this event by the Director of Renewable and Rural Power Assets, Sunday Owolabi, the theme of this year's 16th Electrical and Electronics Engineering Lecture, titled Interconnectivity Strategy for Distributed Generation in Multi-Community Mini-Grids with Adaptive Grid Integration Pathways in Sub-Saharan Africa, is apt. He said government was deploying digital technologies, smart grid solutions, and increased private sector participation to modernize the national grid.
The event of today also shows what the Honourable Ministers have been advocating and also implementing in the electricity power sector, how to bridge the energy gap in Nigeria.
The minister, however, stressed that distributed generation offers a practical solution to improving grid stability while expanding electricity access to underserved communities across the country.
We will recall that Electricity Act 2023 has paved way for energy decentralization. So you can see that that's part of the thing that Honourable Minister is trying to endanger and try to also implement.
The guest lecturer, Isaac Agoro, joined by other dignitaries like the President, Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, Felix Adeboye, said the implementation of the Electricity Act had created opportunities for decentralized power solutions.
The engineers from UK, from Europe, from China are not going to help us to solve our problem because we have different dynamics. So the engineers in Nigeria, specifically the electrical engineers, they have to look at what they need to do to strengthen our distribution grid and to make it very resilient so that we can deliver access to power.
He's trying to address a situation where
2, 3, 4, 5 villages can form a grid. A local government can form a grid. I get, as long as you are not the sole user of the power system, energy that have been installed, it's a mini grid.
To addressing energy poverty across the country. Obiundume, AIT News, Lagos.
Still on to AIT reports on AIT. Coming up next is short break. We'll come back. There'll be more stories. Don't go away.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
Staying with us, if you are just tuning in, this is AIT Reports. Now, Nigeria's House of Representatives has asked the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction to immediately provide emergency relief materials, temporary shelter, medical care, psychosocial support and rehabilitation programs for affected flood victims in Ondo State. This followed a motion of urgent public importance by Adefiraye Festus, who decried the devastating effect of floods in Oluji and Okeibo in Ondo State, resulting in the destruction of homes, farmlands, roads, drainage infrastructure, and other public facilities, leaving many constituents displaced and disrupting socio-economic activities.
2. Also urge the Federal Ministry of Works, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, and other relevant agencies to construct and rehabilitate drainage system, distilling waterways, and implementing other flood control infrastructure in flood-prone communities across Ileluji, Okegbo, and Odigbo Federal Constituency, preventing overflow during period of heavy rainfall, and mitigate the recurring incident of flooding in Ileluji.
We also passed through second reading a bill seeking to establish the Federal College of Nursing Sciences, Kumo, in Gombe State.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that this House accept a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Nursing Sciences, Kumo, Gombe State, and for related matters, HB 2810, be read second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Africa's ambition to shape the future of artificial intelligence, AI, is gaining momentum with the launch of the Atlas Network, an initiative designed to ensure African languages, cultures, values, and knowledge systems are reflected in artificial intelligence development. The initiative took center stage at the African Telecommunications Union ATU Conference of Plenipotentiaries in Abuja, where leaders are also mapping out the continent's digital future, where it will drive a digital process that will be shaped by Africa's expertise and tailored for Africa market.
The conference is taking place at a defining moment for Africa, where the continent is no longer content with simply participating in the digital future, but is determined to help drive it through expanded connectivity, capacity building.
Recent cooperation agreements with the United Nations Office for Digital and Emerging Technologies, for example, advances the work on digital public infrastructure, on artificial intelligence, on capacity building, and indeed in many other fields.
Speakers drawn from the ATU challenged participants about the critical choice Africa faces between depending on external technologies or building its own digital future.
And at the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference later this year, a strong and united African voice will be essential in defining our union's priorities, presence, and direction for the next 4 years.
By 2030, we aim to establish an African digital single market where African private sector can do business and people can enjoy the benefits of digitalization, promote transnational trade in digital services.
Nigeria's Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, said hosting the conference reflects Africa's shared responsibility to lead the next phase of the global digital revolution.
Ambition is for the Atlas Network to become a platform that accelerates development of locally relevant large language models in Africa, by Africa, and for Africa. It will bring together government, researchers, innovators, academia, and ecosystem partners to ensure that Africa's languages, cultures, and knowledge systems are reflected in the AI technologies that will shape our future.
The conference continues with technical sessions, policy discussions, and elections expected to produce decisions that will guide Africa's digital transformation and strengthen the continent's voice in global telecommunications governance. Roluke Ogundele, AIT News, Abuja.
The future of Africa continent should not be determined by the challenges faced, but by the courage and response in strengthening innovations by relevant authorities. This was a submission of the United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, representative of Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima, as well as Lagos State government at the ongoing Africa Social Impact Summit in Lagos. The call for better implementation of the conference resolutions that could improve the lives of the people.
Seated here at the 2026 African Social Impact Summit are over 2,000 participants, government representatives and delegates from about 50 countries. While concerns on how to improve healthcare and education topped discussion on day one, subsequent days focused on mobilizing resources and funds to accelerate identified challenges with the aim of delivering a future of dignity and opportunity for all.
We cannot finance the future with instruments and institutions that have been designed for the past. We need an international financial architecture that reflects today's realities. We also need fair and timely solutions to the debt crisis.
For too long, our continent has been rich in analysis and poor in execution. We have held summits on our diseases and returned home without the cure. You have insisted that we measure ourselves by the weight of what we deliver.
Annual financial gap for sustainable development goals runs into hundreds of billions of dollars, far beyond what government budgets already stretched by competing demand can carry on their own. So around the world, the greatest progress is taking place where governments work hand in hand with private sector, development financing institutions, philanthropic organizations.
A better future we desire depends on you. Anyone who steps into this hall immediately becomes responsible. Responsible to ensure that every African child has access to quality education, that every African has access to quality healthcare.
With just 4 years left to the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, speakers are unanimous on the need for quicker actions and addressing illicit financial flows amidst rising climate crisis, deepening vulnerability, and rising debt burden. Oshuomowa Daniels, AIT News, Lagos.
This is the AIT Reports. Up next is Sport Track.
Welcome to Sports Track. I am Lai Lawal. Starting off with the Commonwealth Game, Nigeria's men's 3-on-3 basketball team got their 2026 Commonwealth Games campaign off to a flying start with a 21-17 victory over the Cayman Islands in their opening Pool A match. Esosa Okundaye and Ikechukwu Nwamu led the scoring for Team Nigeria, combining for 12 points with 6 points each as the team opened their quest for the Commonwealth Games glory on a winning note. Marcel Esonwune and Robert Ukaba also made valuable contributions, combining for the remaining 9 points to complete Nigeria's dominant performance. Team Nigeria will return to action later today against Australia before taking on New Zealand in their third fixture of the day. Australia currently tops Pool A after recording 2 victories, defeating Kenya 21-5 in their second match after opening their campaign with a 21-15 win over New Zealand. Meanwhile, Team Nigeria's powerlifters will also be in action later today as the country's athletes continue their quest for medals at the 2026 Commonwealth Games. Now to some football stories. 10-time Women's African Cup of Nations champions Nigeria's Super Falcons rounded off their preparations for the 2026 WAFCON with a hard 42-1 victory over Tanzania's Twiga Stars in a friendly match ahead of the tournament, which kicks off this Sunday, July 26, in Morocco. Captain Rasheedat Ajibade gave Nigeria the perfect start, opening the scoring in the 15th minute to pull the Super Falcons ahead. The first half was briefly disrupted by an injury scare, forcing head coach Justin Madugu into an early substitution as Gloria Ogbonna replaced Rofia Timuran. Nigeria, however, maintained their one-goal advantage going into the break. Tanzania fought back late in the game with 25-year-old Okpa Clement, who plays professionally for FC Juarez in Mexico's Women's League, finding the equalizer to set up a tense finish. But with just 1 minute remaining, Esther Okoronkwo struck the decisive goal to restore Nigeria's lead and seal a 2-1 victory in the Super Falcons' final one-up match before the start of the 2026 Women's AFCON. The Super Falcons will open their campaign in Group C against Malawi on Tuesday, July 28 at the Al Medina Stadium. They will then face Zambia, a side they defeated 5-0 on their way to winning their 10th continental title before rounding off the group stage against Egypt at the Rabat Olympic Stadium on August 5. Nigeria heads into the tournament determined to extend its record by winning an unprecedented 11th Women's African Cup of Nations title. Now stay with football. Bayelsa United Football Club has begun the search for talented homegrown players ahead of the new football season. Bayelsa State Deputy Governor Peter Akpe officially flags over the club's pre-season tournament at the Samson Siasia Stadium in Yenagoa, describing the initiative as a strategic step towards discovering and developing young football talents across the state.
The week-long pre-season tournament brings together grassroots football clubs from Bayelsa and neighboring states as Bayelsa United intensifies preparations for the new Nigerian National League season. Flagging off the tournament, Deputy Governor Peter Akpe charges the interim management board to remain focused on rebuilding the club with quality homegrown players capable of returning Bayelsa United to the Nigeria Premier Football League.
Don't forget sports development. Get Bayelsans involved. So I wish all the teams and the technical team, the management, well, and believe that we have started well and will achieve our results.
The aim of it is that at the end of the day, we want to achieve, one, the important objective of at least getting up to about 60% of Bayelsan players in the new team. But don't forget that the coaching crew, at the end of the day, they are the ones that will select the players that are fit enough to be there.
Participating players and coaches express optimism that the competition will produce the next generation of stars for Bayelsa United. Oni Sophine Owe, AIT News, Yenagoa.
Now, still talking football, former Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has turned down the opportunity to become the next head coach of the Italian national team. The Italian Football Federation had identified Guardiola as its preferred candidate following his departure from Manchester City after a successful 10-year spell. The Italian Football Federation president Malago Giovanni confirmed earlier this week that the discussions had taken place, with the federation reportedly willing to make exceptions to accommodate Guardiola's salary demands. Technical director Paolo Maldini also revealed that Italy initially approached former international Carlo Ancelotti, who recently took charge of Brazil. However, Ancelotti opted to remain with the South American side. Despite being offered the freedom to shape the national team project, Guardiola has decided to stick with his plans to take a break from football, allowing him time to rest, spend more time with his family and travel. With Guardiola no longer in contention, former Italy midfielder Andrea Pirlo has emerged as the leading candidate for the role. Pella, who currently manages at Dubai-based United FC, could be tasked with guiding the Azzurri through a challenging UEFA Nations League campaign against France, Belgium and Turkey before leading Italy's bid to qualify for UEFA Euro 2028. That's Sports Track. Many thanks for watching. I am Lai Lawal.
And that's the AIT Reports. Many thanks for watching. I am Enemaku Ojochegbe.